What is going on? And welcome back to another episode of iCoach Nutrition Radio. Today's episode is going to be a Q&A, right? And the question, right, that we're going to dive into is going to be all around eggs. All right. And so this is going to be essentially a breakdown of, hey, you go into the grocery store, right? There are so many different eggs at so many different price points. What do the different egg like colors and labels and ratings mean? And then also kind of giving, a breakdown of what are the best eggs to buy, right? Based off kind of your specific situation and goals, and just kind of giving you a little bit more education around the topic. Obviously, education drives compliance. And so the more you know, the more educated you are, the more informed you are, the better decisions that you can make. So essentially, there's three countless, types of eggs to essentially choose from. Okay. And so you have the categories, the main distinctions here are going to be color, and then that'd be number one. And then number two would be label / designation. And then number three is going to be grade. And I guess before I dive into this, I will preface the fact that I'm not an egg expert. So as you see my eyes kind of shifting back and forth here, this is based off the research that I did in preparation for this podcast. Because yeah, I definitely do not have all of this stuff memorized. I would not call myself an egg expert by any means. Okay, so let's kind of start looking into that first category there with the egg colors. So the essentially, the question comes up, right? Does the health value or flavor of an egg vary based on its shell color? Okay, and so according to Michigan State University, the answer is no. Okay, egg color is determined by the hen's genetics. Their breed will ultimately tell you the color her eggs will be. So, all eggs start out the color white. And if you look at the chicken's earlobes, usually the color will be the same as the eggs they lay. So a pretty interesting fact there. There's actually a breed of chicken that lays blue eggs called, I'll probably butcher this name, but I think it's Arcana. And so I've never seen a chicken with blue earlobes before. But if you look this up, it's Araucana. They actually have blue earlobes, and so therefore they lay blue eggs. But anyways, overall, the bottom line is that the egg's shell color has no major bearing on nutritional content or tastes. All right, so egg label designations. So essentially, we'll kind of look into the breakdown now of like what we'd look at as like, conventional or cage-free, free range, etc. So on and so forth. So if I look at the conventional, right? So these are your standard eggs, which often have no special label. If that's the case, they most likely fall into the regular category, right? And so this type of egg comes from chickens raised in large commercial farms. Their wings and beaks are often clipped, and they're kept in small cages on top of one another. Due to these living conditions and the fact that they come from large commercial farms, these eggs are the most affordable for those with smaller budgets. All right, so that's conventional. Cage-free. So cage-free eggs are actually quite similar to conventional eggs. The chickens that lay cage-free eggs still get their beaks and wings clipped and live in the close quarters with minimal sunlight and no guaranteed access to the outdoors. The only major difference is that, true to nomenclature, these chickens aren't raised in cages. In terms of cost, cage-free eggs actually cost about $1 more than regular eggs. Okay. And then free range. The term free range makes you think of chickens roaming at will in grassy fields all day. You may want to think again, right? So yes, free range does guarantee that chickens have some access to the outdoors for at least a portion of their lives. Free range is a blanket term. However, as the amount of time and quantity of space outdoors can vary. Free range eggs tend to cost the same as cage-free variety. They also have no special dietary implications. All right. And then the next category here would be certified organic. So if your eggs are marked with the USDA's certified organic designation, it means the chickens who lay these eggs were given certified organic feed free from chemicals and antibiotics. But are organic eggs worth it? So one of the main benefits of this type of egg is that the consumption limits your exposure to harmful pesticides. These chickens are also uncaged and free to roam outdoors. So technically, they're also known as organic free-range eggs. Because of this extra step in the production process, the price of organic eggs will be slightly higher than other varieties. And then the next one will be organic vegetarian fed. Okay, so eggs with this label were produced by chickens that were fed a strictly all organic vegetarian diet. Sure, the vegetarian fed label may have a certain appeal to vegetarians. However, it's not necessarily a built-in benefit, as chickens aren't ideally vegetarians. After all, worms and bugs are part of a chicken's natural diet. So as far as cost goes, the price of organic vegetarian fed eggs will be slightly higher than that of will be slightly higher than that of certified organic eggs. And then the next column here will be antibiotic free. Okay, so this label here. Antibiotics are more common in chicken feed, but few hens are ever actually injected with antibiotics. So out of the 3 types of antibiotics approved by the FDA to treat diseases in hens, none of them have any marked effect on the eggs. In fact, these antibiotics actually prevent the hens from laying infected eggs. Pasture raised. So this label here, essentially pasture raised are going to be the healthiest eggs to buy for last. And we're saving these, to go over for last. When it comes to egg labels, pasture raised is the gold standard. Okay, so these eggs come straight from chickens raised on a pasture, which typically indicates that they can freely roam, full access to sunlight. These chickens ate an organic diet, complete with bugs and worms for nourishment. And then also they're free of hormones and antibiotics. So going back to the label, when you're at the grocery store and you're looking and you're asking yourself, all right, what's the quote unquote best eggs to buy here? And when I put that in quotes, the reason why I do that is it's kind of like organic in general, right? Look, if you can afford to buy pasture raised eggs and do that for the rest of your life, by all means do it, right? If you can afford to buy organic for the rest of your life, by all means do it, right? But at the end of the day, doing something for one grocery shopping trip, right, or for a few weeks or for a few months, but then not sticking with that because it's too expensive, kind of defeats the purpose in the first place there. So make sure that, like anything, if you're going to do it, make sure you can actually have the means to be able to do it for the rest of your life. Because if not, it's not going to just be this like life-changing thing to your health just by doing it for a short period of time. But with that said, if you do want the best option, technically speaking, it would be pasture-raised eggs. Okay. All right, and then we've got egg grades, right? So grades are how we classify eggs by structure and consistency. So the consumer grades for eggs in the United States are AA, right? A, and then B. So number 1, AA, number 2, A, and then number 3, B, okay? So the grades aren't a safety standard. If you buy eggs from a grocery store, they should be safe to eat regardless of the grade. But here's a deeper dive of the different types and egg grades and what they mean. So AA, grade AA eggs should have a thick, firm egg white and a clear anchor between the egg and the yolk called, again, I'm gonna butcher this name, but a chalaise. The yolk should be round and high. These types of eggs are great for all kinds of cooking, but are ideal for poaching and frying. Eggs of this grade are full and regularly shaped. Grade A eggs are very similar to AA. However, the whites may be slightly less firm and thick. This egg is also great for all uses and is the type most frequently sold in grocery stores, like AA eggs. The egg has no structural issues. And then grade B eggs have a thin, flat yolk. The whites tend to be thin and watery with no chalaise. This egg grade is unbroken, but may be mishappen with stains. It's best for unstructured use and is seldom sold at food markets. Instead, frozen or freeze-dried egg products often use grade B eggs. All right, so bringing it back, the best eggs to buy, right? So this is going to be, a recommendation from, kind of just like overall here, right? But the pasture-raised eggs are, technically speaking, assuming again that you can buy these, you can afford to buy these, and you can afford to buy them for the rest of your life, they're going to be the best option, right? So chickens that lay these eggs are able to, again, roam freely and have access to sunlight and fresh air. When you have a healthy chicken, it's more likely that they'll lay healthy eggs. Otherwise, locally farmed eggs are also a great option there, right? They usually have smaller operations running for their chicken eggs, which often means a better environment. If you don't have access to either of these options, cage free or free range would be your next best. And then from there, if you have budgetary concerns, sustainability concerns here, then, and you can't buy these premium eggs, then, doing more of the conventional is fine as well. But again, we have these governing bodies, right, to regulate and make sure that anything is being put on the shelf is not going to be harmful to your health. So even if you're buying conventional eggs, you don't need to feel like you're, a bad person, or that, these are going to be harmful to your health. I mean, they're all perfectly fine. And to be honest with you, most of the restaurants that you're going to for breakfast that you get eggs, IHOP or whatever, they're going to be buying conventional eggs. It's going to be the cheapest way for them to maximize their margins. And you like going to these types of places. I mean, you're going to be perfectly fine. But just if you were interested in this and you did want to know, kind of what were the differences in eggs and what was like the best option to go with, hopefully this kind of helped with kind of giving a breakdown of this. Again, this was something that I was able to, just kind of do a little bit of research on, kind of looking at the different breakdowns of this. But, I think, again, the big takeaway here, the big reminder I want to give for so many people is that if it's not sustainable for you, right? If it's not affordable for you, don't feel like you're a bad person, especially those parents out there feeding your kids and whatnot. Like, you're going to be perfectly fine. At the end of the day, we have to focus on eating majority whole foods, right? And making sure that we're, getting plenty of vegetables and fruits in our diet, and eating balanced meals, and not eating too much, not over consuming, not under consuming, learning how to fuel our bodies properly. And if eggs is something that you consume in your diet, and you want to make sure that you're buying the best quality eggs possible, and it's affordable for you and it's sustainable for you, by all means, go for it. At the end of the day, there are plenty of people that don't eat eggs at all, and you can absolutely be extremely healthy with never eating another egg for the rest of your life. Eggs are not like this thing that are like a non-negotiable that you absolutely have to have in your diet. And again, I think just with the overall conversation of whether it be eggs or vegetables or fruits or meats, like all this stuff with grass-fed and wild caught and cage-free and all of these different terms that are out there, at the end of the day, if you can't afford to do it for the rest of your life, right, then it's not going to be worth to do it for a short period of time. And at the end of the day, eating a majority whole food based diet, right, with lean proteins in it, lots and lots of vegetables and fruits, whole grains, healthy fats, these are all going to be, really the big rocks to focus on, and really what are going to serve you the most, and really what are going to define the quality of your diet and living a healthy lifestyle. And then also, obviously, being able to understand the quantity side of the equation with nutrition, making sure that you're eating enough calories for your goals, making sure you're eating an adequate amount of protein and fat and carbohydrates for your goals. And then big picture, ultimately, just actually living a healthy lifestyle, right? So prioritizing your sleep and your nutrition and your exercise and your hydration and your stress management and your personal development. All of these things are important. It's a very holistic approach. Everything affects everything. And it's rarely that, it's just one thing, right? So just because you go out there and buy the best eggs that are available doesn't mean that that's automatically going to make you healthy. Just like if you decide not to buy the healthiest eggs available because of the price point, and they're just not affordable for you and your family, that's definitely not going to derail you from being able to live a healthy lifestyle. So again, thank you for the questions. This Q&A was inspired yet again from one of my clients, Mike, who asked this question. So he asked questions back to back, did podcasts on these topics back to back. So if you have a question, please drop it below here. If this is on YouTube or Facebook, or shoot me a message if you're listening to this on the podcast. I would love to answer the questions that you have. That way I can be able to do the research if I need to dive deeper into it, or just give you, my own input based off all the experience and education that I currently have. But there will be certain times like this where, again, I'm not an egg expert by any means. And I went in, did some research, and was able to kind of, formulate this in a way that I thought would be a simplified approach to help you kind of understand some of these different things here on a little bit better level and allow you to make the most informed decision, the best decision for you and your family. So, guys, we'll wrap it up there with that. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and I hope you all have a great day. See you guys.